All right, Elizabeth, who do you see the judge siding with here?
You know, it's a tricky case. I'm a firm believer that you can get fair and impartial jurors, that most people want to do their job. And I would just note that it doesn't matter if every person in this county has heard of this case. It matters whether or not they can set aside any preconceived notions and be fair and impartial. That being said, I did a little research, and this county only consists of 39,000 people. With that in mind, I'm sort of on the fence as to whether or not a change of venue is warranted. If I were the judge, I would attempt to conduct jury selection in the county where the case is pending and see how it goes and see whether or not it looks like we can get a fair and impartial jury. And then if not, I might change the venue, you know, a week or two into the trial.
You know, Jacqueline, in court Thursday, we kept hearing all about the heightened media coverage in Latah County, but everyone covered this story. This was not local. This was national. How might that play into things? And then there's always the question of the stealth jurors. I remember that from Scott Peterson's case. That was something that was a huge concern back then and could be here, too.
Yeah, the prosecutor's going to argue that, so what if the case has all of this pretrial publicity? The fact is that there's no place in the United States that hasn't heard of this case. And so have the trial in LA, have the trial in New York City, or anywhere in between, and everybody is going to have heard of the case. The difference is that here you have such, as the judge rightly pointed out, you have such a small county, such a small community, and such a huge amount of pretrial publicity, such that the people in that community, and has been demonstrated by the defense pretty well, I think, those folks have such a hardened decision. I mean, they've all kind of come to the conclusion that Mr. Kohberger is guilty. It isn't just that they've heard about the case, but they seemingly have very, very strong and unmovable opinions. And that really is going to be a question about whether or not he can get a fair trial there. And when Boise's 200 miles away, but a much bigger place where you can find a fair jury, it would be an unforced error, I think, to keep it in this small Latah County when you can send it over to Boise and do away with that appellate issue. And so I think that this judge, who's always very circumspect, I actually think that he's going to do the very unlikely thing, which is a very uncommon thing, and move this trial. I think they are going to change the venue in this one.
Yeah, I've been hearing that from a lot of people, and you're right to bring up the appellate issue. That is so huge. Jarrett, I want to play a clip from the defense yesterday and talk to you on the other side of this.
There's not a media story talking about Bryan Kohberger's right to be presumed innocent. There's not a media story talking about Bryan Kohberger being loved by his family. Nobody's talking about the good grades he achieved all through his undergraduate career and graduate programs. Nobody's talking about the dog that he loves and helped train. It's all negative.
All right. So what did you make of the defense?
I think that's a powerful argument. Certainly, though, Laura, there's not a situation where you're going to have any crime highlighting the good points of a man who's charged with butchering 4 young, beautiful people. The reality is you can't try this case on Mars and not have people that weren't exposed to negative publicity about Bryan Kohberger.
Right.
I think the biggest challenge, though, that you're going to have in Latah County is someone without a direct link to the university, which is a large employer there, which creates a conflict, or a spouse or a child that works there, or someone who has some connection to the case. So it's no longer a question of whether you heard about the case, it's do you have some type of connection, which could be problematic in seating the jury.
Right. Well, this is going to be a very interesting decision and such an important one. I know that these families are hanging on, waiting for this judge to decide, and so are we. Everyone stick around. We've got more to go.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.